Hey, this is Max Zaleski here from Without a Cause. Whack, baby. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, this is Clutch Jesse V, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is the smash hit Joel Bateman, Australia's premier deathmatch wrestler, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is the Obro Owen Brody, and this is Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is the trophy boy, Tyler Klein, the designer to the wrestling world, and you are listening to the Wrestling with Entertainment podcast.
Hey guys, this is Robin Renegade, and you're listening in on Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is the Baddest Black Belt, Janai Kai, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers on Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox. Sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code WrestlingWithE for 10% off your next purchase. As of course, I am your host, James Shea, alongside Kaliko Yas.
I saw 50 Cent sewing a sweater, and I told him, G-Unit. G-Unit, get it, G-Unit? No, not there. Boom, boom.
And Scooter Dust, who's not joining us tonight. But it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the baddest black belt, Janai Kai.
What's up?
How are you, Janai?
I'm doing well, how are you?
Well, good. You tell us what you got coming up and where we can find you on social media.
Well, for social media, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and my handle is Janai_Kai.
And you also have a Twitch stream as well?
Yeah, I actually do stream on Twitch. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Janai Kai, so you can find me on there as well.
And where can we find some merchandise as well?
Well, really, I have T-shirts and 8x10s that you can just DM me about. I'm usually good about just announcing what's in stock at the moment. I don't have a particular website for it right now.
I got you. And you got any upcoming shows?
Yeah, actually, so Saturday, June 26th, I have a show in New Jersey for Black Girl Magic, and I'm going to be wrestling against Jordan Blade. And so I'll be wrestling her Saturday, and then I do have some July dates coming up. July is almost filled, so I will be wrestling around the Jersey area for sure, a lot more, and then I'll be wrestling in Texas for the first time.
Awesome.
And, get your Osprey ready, because it's gonna be man. Just get your Osprey ready.
All right.
And of course, all of those links will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Now, let's start off with you don't really have one promotion that you work with, like your home promotion. You kind of go everywhere. You're kind of a freelancer. Could you tell us why you don't stick to one promotion, and what's that like?
Yeah, I don't have a home promotion. Like, typically people stick with like their school, and like their school has their own show and they wrestle there for the longest time and then branch out. But yeah, like I've really been wrestling in different promotions since I started. I haven't really stick with one for more than a year, if anything. And I think it's just because of just how everything works and what they want to do. But I like it, to be honest. It gives me a good idea of how different areas are, how different workers are, how different promoters are, just, learning as I go along by myself.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a cool experience.
I think we could put Outlaw Janai Kai. Bounty reward. uh,
You know what? Get her a samurai or samurai Janai Kai.
Yeah,
there you
exactly.
go. There you go. Workshopping here. Kaliko, you have a question.
Yes. You are, as noted, you are a black belt in Taekwondo. I tried Taekwondo. I got the yellow belt, man. I give you props. I give you bad props. Uh, I got the yellow belt. I was like, yeah, no. But then, actually, it was wrestling, but that's a whole nother story. But you also do Muay Thai as well. And I always want to know or ask, like, what led you to those disciplines other than vice, say karate or aikido or Brazilian jiu-jitsu? What drew you into those martial art disciplines?
Go specific.
Because specifically because I feel like those actually fit you really well because you're very fast on your feet. People don't know you are like a quick. You were quick as hell. I've seen your man. I'm like, man, like
Yeah,
I'm amazed.
yeah, well, Taekwondo really started, when I was 6 years old. So I don't know, something about it really interested me. I think it was just a picture I saw of the school that I started going to. It was a picture of this guy doing like a jump split kick in the air, and it had like their phone number, like saying like if you're interested, call here. And so right when I saw that picture, I was like, I want to do that. And I told my mom that, and she was like, all right, fine, okay, Taekwondo. We'll get you set up for a private lesson sometime next week then. And so I did the private lesson and everything. So like after that, I don't know what about it got me hooked, to be honest, but it just seemed like something that I was very comfortable with from the get-go. So I did that for about 7 to 8 years, and then I took a little bit of a break, and then I got into the Muay Thai and kickboxing, just by my boyfriend, who is Yoya. He trains MMA, and he kind of like told me like, oh, you should get back into martial arts, like Muay Thai and everything, and see how you feel. So I got back into it, and it just seemed like, to me, it felt like it never left me, like martial arts wise, and the Taekwondo, everything I learned didn't leave me. And I just decided to continue, but do Muay Thai and kickboxing.
All right. Now, what has it been like wrestling in the pandemic era of wrestling, in front of no crowd? And how does it feel to have the crowd return after so long?
Oh, wow. So when there was like no crowds at all, it was definitely very different. I knew for sure this was going to be a good test for all of the wrestlers, because of the fact we're just so used to vibing off the crowd and hearing what they're saying, and then just being comfortable doing other little things while there's noise in the background. But the fact that it was just silent, we definitely had to adjust to that and really learn how to create some sort of story on our own, rather than just pleasing an audience right there in front of us. And I think for sure for me, that's more of what I learned about. And then now having the crowd back, I think we as wrestlers are, have grown, have become a lot better. And also with the crowd coming back, I feel like the crowd also appreciates the work that we've gone through a little bit more.
Interesting. Liko, you have a question?
Yes, she brought up Yoya, who is your boyfriend. You recently had a tag match with your boyfriend against
Yeah.
Fire and Flavor, uh, and you also wrestled against your boyfriend. So I always want to ask, like, which one was better for you, tagging with him or fighting against him? Because I feel like fighting against him, you could kind of get some shots in where you're like, this is for not leaving the toilet seat up. You know, I feel like you
Yeah,
could just.
yeah, that right there, man. Like, I think I think wrestling Yoya for sure. I definitely do not hesitate with like how I throw my strikes and everything on him.
He's easily
And
kickable, is what you're saying.
yeah, yeah, like after the match, even with him, he's just like, wow, like you did lay those in pretty hard, but whatever. Yeah, you already know. But I mean, I'm not going to throw away how we are as a tag because I actually enjoy it a lot too. And the match against Fire and Flava, I believe, was actually our second or it was our third match as a tag team.
Hmm.
So it was definitely a cool experience because we're still trying to grow together as a tag team in the ring. We have that connection, we have that psychology and everything. It's just a matter of now putting our skills together and putting movesets together, you know.
Oh, okay. To follow up with that, with the chemistry, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of tagging with a loved one? Because usually it's very rare to people loved ones come as a tag team. You've
You're
seen
still
friends
right.
come together or twins or siblings, but it's
Yeah.
very rare when it's someone that you're romantically involved with. So, what are the challenges and the advantages of that?
Still my
Uh,
questions, Kaliko.
I'll start with the advantages. Advantages is the fact that, I mean, we basically are very good with communication. Like we see each other a lot. We travel together almost every weekend, and I feel like it's just an easier way of communicating, meaning like, oh, I have this idea, let's try it right now, and like they're right there, you can try it. Rather than like I do see like other tag teams who are just friends, but they don't even live close or anything, and they kind of have to figure things out as they're away from each other. So
Right.
I can see that just being like more of an advantage. And even like Yo-Yo's good about like telling me like, oh, hey, I found something that you could do in a tag move or whatever by myself, and he lets me know. So I think that's just more of an advantage. The uh, the downside about that, there are some times where it's like Yo-Yo likes to do a lot, which isn't bad, but he doesn't think before he brings up the idea sometimes. It's just like based off of something crazy that he just saw online and then says we should definitely do this. I'm like, watch it again. Watch it again carefully and then rethink what you're trying to do and remember who you're tagging with because I'm not that same person.
He wants to do some Young Bucks action.
Yeah, some lucha moves. I'm like, all right, calm down for a second.
You can't do that many 450s.
Yeah, it's like remember who you're tagging with now.
That's awesome. Um, now you had a WWE tryout. Can you tell us how that came about and what you got out of it?
Okay, so that tryout wasn't your PC tryout. It was I never had a PC tryout. That tryout really was a just one match that they wanted me to do. And so I don't know if they particularly called it a tryout. They bring in extras, which you know, like they bring in extras from the area just to be there just in case they might need to use them. So usually when they bring in the extras, they tell them, hey, we're going to have some matches going on, 5-minute matches, just to see what you can do really quick. And then that's it. And then they'll just keep you in mind for later during the night if they want to use you or not. And so that's what I did. I did like a 5-minute match. So it wasn't like particularly like your traditional PC trial. It was just them just wanting to sing something really quick. And that was it. They did take my name down afterwards, for maybe like a future tryout, but didn't get a call or email yet about that. So yeah, that's how far that really went, really.
Did you get any feedback after the match from somebody?
You know what? They were actually cool enough to do that, which I'm thankful for, because they just did it. Like, they weren't just like, oh, do this really quick. Thanks. Goodbye. We'll let you know if we want you or not. They definitely took the time after to sit us down and be like, hey, we really like this. You need to work on this, which they did tell me. But for the most part, it was a lot of positive feedback. Like, they were very surprised because during that time I was just hitting 2 years in, and they were just very surprised with how I did. So like, it was very positive and surrounding that.
Interesting. Janai Kai might be getting a call from WWE soon.
Oh man, that was like 2 years ago, so they've definitely moved on since then.
Speaking on WWE, they never really move on. They've been looking at you.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. The Keith Lee story is an example. Like, he was shut down twice, but they kept their eye on him and they got him.
That's very
And he
true.
did his good. He did good in his time. So don't think they ain't watching you. Don't think.
I just like to be like, all right, cool. Like, we'll see what that means. Well, I'll go with the flow, whatever that means.
Kaliko, you have a question.
Yes, I do. You've had a couple of matches with some people that we've interviewed. But I want to start with the first one is when you were at Camp Leapfrog. I wanted you to speak about your time in that, and you actually wrestled Travis Huckabee, a guy that we interview here.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to explain that, like, for the people who don't know, explain the match. How did it feel? Because a lot of people now, I think intergender wrestling is starting to kind of become a norm and become normal. And I always wanted to know how you felt about that, because I feel like your skill set makes it way more credible than a lot of others due to the fact that, the martial arts background, the Muay Thai background. So it's not surprising that you would kick somebody's kneecap this place and then kick them in the throat right after. So
Yeah, well, wrestling Travis was very fun. He's someone that's very technically sound too. Like, his whole move set and everything is very technical. So working with him, like, we were able to automatically connect. He, of course, was attacking my legs because those are my strong suit when it comes to wrestling. But I very much enjoyed being in the ring with him. And like you said, like with intergender wrestling, it's always a test to me, because lately I have been in the ring with mainly guys this year, and each of them are definitely different. Some of them are incredibly just out of this world athletic. Like, I can really see them going somewhere very quick. If anything, later this year they need to be on TV. Like Travis, like Darius Carter for sure, and Darius killed me too at Can't Leapfrog. So yeah, like, I think overall with intergender wrestling, like you said, it's definitely becoming something more in the norm, and like people are kind of more accepting about it. I do get comments here and there, like, just saying like, oh, like, why is she wrestling the guys, like, and then everyone just tells that person off. Like, dude, we're way past that. So I honestly enjoy it though, and I do see that how like my my background does, how it does come together against the guy, like how different it could be and how well it looks. So I do enjoy it a lot.
Now, this I find this this question interesting. Do you feel like there should be like one belt that all genders go for, or do you feel like there should be a men's and women's championship?
I definitely think that people should be able to defend the belt to whomever, whether it's male or female or whatever they identify as. Like, I think even like more shows are doing that too.
Yes.
Like I've seen it here and there. There are some shows that do have a specific belt that you can defend it against anyone. Like Trisha Dora, she has the what is it, the Pan African belt. She can defend that against anybody.
All right. Now, you are, a black belt. You do taekwondo, kickboxing, Muay Thai. Basically, you could kill both of us fairly easily. So has anybody you've been in the ring with kind of try and test you? Like, let's see how tough the black belt really is?
I can't really tell if they do. Because I just sometimes I think that some people actually underestimate me, if anything. So like they think like, oh yeah, she's a black belt, whatever. I don't. Yeah, you'll see about that. That's mainly like what I get, if anything. I don't really get like people who intentionally try to test me in some sort of way, like pushing my buttons or anything. But I've had people admit, like they're like, oh crap, like you actually hit harder than I thought. Like, oh crap, like, all right, this is how it is, like type thing.
That is the best answer ever. If they did, I didn't know it.
Yeah, I wouldn't know it at all.
I'm just that badass. Kaliko, you have a question.
Honestly, that is the best answer. I'm like, I ain't a killer, but don't push me type vibe right there. That. But on another note, you have been put on the Combat Fight Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be fighting actually MMA. You're actually going to be doing some legit fighting. So you got to take that and transfer it over. Have you?
Wrestling.
Nah, yeah, the real shit where she's gonna really break somebody's nose. But but I always wanted to know, considering that you have gone into this venture and you're still wrestling, what's the delicate balance of MMA training and professional wrestling?
Well, it could be very, very challenging mentally, because when you're training, like I did train for a kickboxing fight like a few years ago, and I can tell you right off the bat that it is very like challenging, and it messes with your mind in a way where it really wants to test how far you can go, like how far are you willing to go to cut this amount of weight, to really, be the inner badass that you didn't know that you could be. And so I think like on top of like the weight cut, which I had to cut 20 pounds, and then every day of 4 to 6 hours of training, I think that can really take a toll on your other schedule, like wrestling. So I think when it comes to like balancing that out, you just have to like kind of take a step back and like just remember to breathe and relax, because that's very important.
Now, you've actually been on our side of the table. You interviewed Tootsie Lynn Ramsey, aka Shashin.
Yeah.
How'd that come about, and do you think you'll ever do it again?
Well, this is from my Twitch channel. So I was trying to have, this was in the beginning where I started streaming. I was trying to have more guests on the show who are women's wrestlers in particular. And that actually came about because I've met Tootie a couple years ago, and me and Tootie, like right off the bat, like we just had a really cool connection, and she has the martial arts background, and we were like already all over each other about that. So um I reached out to her. I was like, hey, do you wanna be a part of my stream? Like, she's so chill, she's so cool. So yeah, that's really how it came about. And I would like to start doing that again. If anything, that's something I really want to do, is to bring more women's wrestlers on.
You got a list?
um I was starting it, and then I just got totally distracted. But I'm gonna think about it again, because I did reach out to a couple a few months ago, and then they just never got back to me.
Oh, I hate it
So
when that happens.
I was like, yo, I thought we were cool, like women's wrestling, come on. But it's all good. Like, I'll find somebody. There's at least one person out of the bunch that would get on the stream with me.
Alright. Kaliko, you have a question.
Yes. I mean, one person I think you could get on there is someone that you wrestled, Billy Stark, who
Oh my
is
God.
lighting up the world as a young prodigy. You got to wrestle her. Miss Never lost herself. Elaborate on that match and that experience, especially with someone that young, because usually, especially in America, like when we do things physical combat with minors, it's usually frowned upon. But I think in her case, she held her own. She took your kicks. So elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Billy is like, it's crazy how smart she is. Like, like, for her age, I'm not saying people her age are not smart, but I'm saying, like, wrestling wise and being in the business, I already feel from her that she gets it 100%. And when she gets older, she will have no issue whatsoever. That's how I feel about it. And just being in the ring with her was really cool. Like, there's a lot of things that I actually learned from her, if anything. So I definitely enjoy, being in the ring with her. I would love to be in the ring with her again. And yeah, like, if anything, I'll get her on my Twitch stream for sure. That would be a fun little stream, having her on.
That would be pretty awesome. Yeah. Now, another match you were in for another promotion, you wrestled for Bloodsport. And I kind of feel like the first rule of Bloodsport is you don't talk about Bloodsport. Tell us about Bloodsport.
Man, so Bloodsport was definitely something I've been thinking about for a couple years now, because I've been in the business for a few years. But when I first saw Bloodsport, I was like, all right, this looks like something that was more up my alley. Hold on a second. So just even thinking about that, and then getting asked if I want to do it, was just crazy to me. But the experience being there was way different than I ever experienced before. For me, being a women's wrestler and doing something along the lines of shoot style, it means a lot to me, because I feel very strongly about that specific style. I feel like there are still a lot of people who can't accept it, which you may think is surprising, but I do hear a lot of people even tell me that I shouldn't wrestle the way that I wrestle, or do the things that I do in the ring, because it just doesn't look like I should. And I know that they're talking about me being a woman, and they don't want to say it, but that's what I get a lot. But being on Bloodsport and representing that, and then feeling like the crowd is actually interested and they're invested in what's going on means a lot to me. So just overall having that feeling and experience is just everything to me.
You know, it's I actually heard that before. We interviewed Jack Stevens, and the guy's like 6'8", 300 pounds, and he likes to wrestle like a luchador. If you could wrap your head around that, and people said about him, you know, you shouldn't do those moves because it doesn't look believable. And he was like, but I can do those moves, and I do
Right.
do those moves. It's not CGI.
Yeah.
I could actually do that.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I totally understand that. And could you tell us about your opponent in that match, Karen Tran?
Yeah, KZT. So, KZT, she actually doesn't do like professional wrestling like that. She actually does she started a little bit in WoW, Woman of Wrestling, and the WoW Superheroes show. And she let me know like, hey, I only have that little bit of that background, but she has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So being with her for Bloodsport was definitely okay. It was definitely up her alley too. And so we definitely had like a really good chemistry, if anything. Like I didn't feel anything out of place or anything uncomfortable. Like she definitely got it for someone who is not really familiar with being in the wrestling business. Like there was still some of that was involved in Bloodsport, but she worked very well, and she was just overall a good opponent.
Was that a shoot match or a walking match?
That was more working than shoot, that for sure. If it was like for shoot, that would have probably ended like quicker than it did. Because we both know what the hell we're doing, and we're black belts. We've been doing this for years. So if anything, I would say you would have saw something else if it was shoot.
All right. Kaliko, you have a question.
That means somebody was gonna get taken out quick. I got 5 on you. I got 5 on you. One of the advantages of being your own boss as a freelancer is that you get to work with different companies, and you get to like work longer with companies that actually highlight your skill sets. One of the feuds that I've seen you have was with one Catalina Perez,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanted you to elaborate on the psychology of that feud, because of the simple fact that, like you said, you get to go and work as you please, but this one person just seemed, you guys had so much good chemistry that it seemed to keep coming back and back, to the point where you guys had street fights and number one contender matches and so on and so forth. So just elaborate on the feud aspect of your work, because that seemed to be like your longest work.
Yeah, if anything, like going back to like home promotions, ACW was probably like my home promotion, I would say, for a while, and that's where I started the feud with Catalina Perez. And yeah, like she was my first match there, and I think she was one of the last matches I had being there too. And overall, like the feud, just the build up of it was crazy, because me and her definitely wanted to do something different each time. We didn't want to have the same match all the time. And from what it looked like, everyone who was helping us and like putting everything together, they saw that we wanted more. So that's why they gave us the first women's main event on the show, and having that street fight as the main event on the show. And we definitely beat the hell out of each other that night. But it was fun. It was definitely fun. It was probably like one of my favorite moments thus far in my career.
Is it rewarding being trusted with that main event spot?
What was that?
Is it rewarding to be trusted with that main event spot?
It definitely is. again, because we were the first women's main event for ACW overall. So just that, like, she even told me before we had the street fight, like, this meant a lot to her because she was there longer than I was, and she's just never seen that or never thought it would actually happen. So it definitely is rewarding.
Another match that I wanted to bring up was the Polyam Cult Party 3 against Ziggy Hine.
Yep.
That was an interesting environment. I think that's the only time you ever wore shoes for a match. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the only time. Usually when I wear shoes in the ring is if we're outside and either the area is full of like rocks and sticks and stuff, or the sun is beaming down on the ring.
I see.
In that specific environment, it wasn't sunny, but there was definitely a lot of things around the ring where I don't want to step on. So I made sure I wore my shoes for that.
Well, could you tell us about the environment? It looked like it was like in a backyard.
Yeah, it's MV Young's Polyam mansion. So we were there in the back of that mansion, and it was definitely a very interesting spot, I would say, because yeah, I haven't even wrestled in a area like that before, but it was fun. Like it was streamed on Twitch, and we had over 1,000 views, so it definitely caught a lot of people's attention.
You also wrestled Natalia Markova as well.
Yeah.
And Ray, that was kind of at the beginning of your career as well, correct?
Yeah, it was.
So, could you tell us maybe what you learned from her doing those matches so early on, and what you might bring into a match against her now?
Well, wrestling Natalia, I knew that she had more of like a strong style to her, and I knew that she went to Japan. Like I've always contacted her because of the fact that I'm into strong style, into Japanese style. So I always like, would hit her up and ask her about it. But even like wrestling her, I told her right off the bat that I want to do that style match. So I gave it, of course, to her hands as her as the vet to, make that happen, like in a sense where she'll help me create that and help me, grow into that sort of style. So wrestling her was great because of that. And that's definitely a style that I want to get more into.
Oh. Kaliko, you have a question?
Yes.
There we go.
There we go. See, right when they
Pregnant
think I'm
pause.
dead, I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. You were at one point the RPW Women's Champion. Um, could you just do you have any goals in terms of championships? Because I felt like the ACW, I felt like you would have been a really, really solid champion. Is that one of the drawbacks of being a freelancer where you think people are not giving you the belt because you don't know how long you're going to be there type of vibe, or is it just something where you just feel like you want to be more entertaining and get the credibility of being that traveling wrestler, which is very rare for women because men, I mean, you could think of like Chris Jericho, those are a person who's traveled everywhere and wrestled everybody. But you're kind of blazing that same trail on the women's side.
Yeah, so when it comes to being champion, it's not something that I'm heavily just thinking about right now. If anything, I'm thinking like what you said, just traveling and showcasing myself in that sense and impacting certain areas just to get to, bigger goals. But yeah, you mentioned I was champion at Real Pro. And that was like for a little bit of time too, and that was when I was actually doing like more of my my ninja gimmicks, because I do have that side of me too that I like to bring out here and there, where I wasn't like the baddest black belt. I was like Ninja Kai, like Janai Kai, which is a little bit of a different character.
It's basically
But
your Fiend character.
yeah, exactly. So that's when I was champion, and I was part of like kind of like in the storyline in a sense. I was part of a faction too, but that was like earlier on, and we're just traveling around Florida. But as of right now, it's not something that comes to mind. Goal wise, like, oh, I just want to be a champion somewhere. Like, no, I just want to keep showcasing who I am and showcasing my skills, and impacting everyone in that sense.
Now, as we've been talking about, you wrestled some high-profile names on some really high-profile shows. Is that really encouraging to you that you're on the right track of that you're on the right track and you're doing what you need to do to be the best version of yourself?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that comes to mind because when I was in Florida, to be honest, I didn't feel as if I was really growing as much. And being at the school that I was at, it wasn't very encouraging after a while. Like, I wasn't getting the help or boost. So after like leaving Florida and coming back over to like DMV area and now wrestling more in the Jersey shows or Pennsylvania, like I do feel very much a big difference, and even like positively like a big difference, even with the people that I've just started being in the ring with.
All right. Now, Kaliko, you got a colossal question? I feel like we need to play the Jeopardy theme. Waiting for Kaliko to respond.
Yeah.
He likes his entrances. If he was really... Oh, okay, we lost Kaliko.
Oh no. Oh wait.
And he's back. If he was ever really here to begin with. Okay then. Let's get into maybe a controversial subject.
Mm-hmm.
Is The Karate Kid an action movie?
That's a good question. If I were to say, in some sense, yes, because when you do look up action movies, let's say on Netflix, there is fighting scenes involved, and in Karate Kid, there is a fighting scene, or even more than just one involved. So, I would say that it is.
So just fighting scenes dictate that it's an action movie.
Yeah, I feel like it does, definitely.
And who shot first? Did Han shoot first?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Who shot first? Did Han shoot first? This is a Star Wars question.
Oh man, you're definitely asking the wrong person then. I don't even watch Star Wars like that.
Now you're just breaking my heart.
You should have asked her, is Johnny the trouble starter? Because that's the question. I feel like Daniel was the trouble starter, not Johnny.
You won't be the only one that thinks that.
If you like after watching Cobra Kai, it kind of comes out as to what's going on for real between them and what happened in high school. And you would see that, Johnny was actually not as bad as he was out to be in the movie. And Danny was a little asshole.
Who got into karate to impress a girl instead of trying to do the right thing and have discipline.
Yeah.
Well, you're going from Karate Kid to Cobra Kai. What are your thoughts on the show?
I honestly love it. It's just there's so much nostalgia, and I know like a lot of people said that too. Like, so I know a lot of people would agree with me on that. Like, if you haven't watched Cobra Kai, definitely watch it. And I just overall like I think Cobra Kai is probably one of the only shows on Netflix that I have watched more than once. Because usually when I watch a show on Netflix, I just watch it one time and then I'm done. Unless like season 2 comes out and I just totally forgot what happened in season 1, I'll go back and watch it. But I keep rewatching Cobra Kai just because it's just that good.
It is a really good show. Are you
Yeah.
Miyagi though or Cobra Kai?
Oh man. Attitude-wise, I've definitely more Cobra Kai.
There you go.
But I do have a Miyagi-Do, like a little bit of a Miyagi-Do side because it's just more calm, cool, collected in a sense. But Cobra Kai, like, no, you gotta do this. Forget all that. Like, you're gonna kick their ass. Like, I'm like, hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I totally get what you mean. Yeah, Cobra Kai all the way. Kaliko, you have the colossal question.
Yes, see, finally people can hear me. Excuse my kid in the background because he is just so excited about swimming. But but since you've been in your career since 2019, I feel like you've been doing a lot. You've had a bunch of good names, good matches, good exposure, WWE tryout. Um, let's say that there's going to be a biopic about you. You know, I'm trying to find a female companion that got karate skills, but ain't that many. So they might put like Renee Zellweger in it or something like that, which is totally inappropriate. But every movie has a soundtrack. So what 5 songs would you feel that are in your collection of music that best reflects your wrestling career?
Oh man, 5 songs. Ooh. I can't think of 5 of them because I feel like, of course, like my career is still going on. There has been a lot of things that have happened thus far, which is crazy. But, I feel like I had like the whole 5 songs is not there yet.
Alright, how about 3?
3 songs. I would have to look at my playlist to be honest. I'm like, what am I listening to? What's really been a song that has been affecting me throughout these years? I just go to if I'm
Take your
feeling
time.
some type of way.
What
I
about
think
album,
I think
artist?
if anything, I always go back to listening to like rock music or even Japanese rock because Japanese rock is something I listened to heavily when I was in high school. And if you listen to Japanese rock, it's the sound of the singers' voices are way different than like American rock. And like there's always some type of melody that goes along with it. Like if you like, let's say if you like some anime soundtracks like openings or like rock music, it's kind of like that. But some that are a little bit darker, that's what I listen to. So
Are you
there's
listening
like I
to
can.
TK from Link Tosai Siko?
What was that?
Are you listening to some TK?
TK?
Yeah, TK from Link Tosai Siko.
No, I haven't listened to that. Or
Oh.
Who are you listening
Now
to
you got to
now?
give us a song, a Japanese rock song. Give me
Yes.
one that's always in your head.
I can give you a lot of bands. I
Oh,
can give
okay.
you the first one right off the top of my head is the Gazette.
Okay.
The Gazette, and then another one would be Garugamish. Gilgamesh is usually compared to Linkin Park, so they're like the Japanese Linkin Park. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
No Japanese Jay-Z collabo though.
No.
I was listening
If you wanna go listen to K-pop, you can probably find one.
So no BTS is on your playlist.
No, no BTS. I do have a K-pop playlist, but it's definitely like more like 2010 music groups and songs that I have rather than
Sister?
right now.
Before it became a thing in the States.
Exactly. Yeah, I have Sistar on my playlist.
You know, I love them, and it was a while before I saw that they made another song, and I was like, huh, I wonder if they made another song, and then they broke up, and I was like, what damn?
No, yeah, recently I've been discovering that about other groups too, because again, like I just like go back to like the songs that I was listening to in 2010, and I'm like, all right, like I wonder what's new now, and like I don't see anything.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
That sounds like me with 90s hip hop. I'm like, I wonder where tag team is right now. Whoop, there it is. It's so good.
What about Yujuru?
What was that?
Yujuru, the band.
You two?
Yujuru.
Oh,
Yeah,
I barely listen to them.
they got some good songs. But
Yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
anime fan, so I'm a little partial. Burnout Syndrome. People in a Box. Nothing?
Nah.
Alright, I tried. So back to the colossal question. We got some J-pop, J-rock in there. What else?
Oh, well, I listen to deep house music or like trance music, like EDM, but like more deep. Like the bass is like it's going like quick, but it's deep. Like that's the type of like EDM I like.
Alright, we got two. We need one more.
Jeez, what's one more? Oh, I do like, okay, so I'm gonna go back to, gosh, like middle school, early high school. I still listen to some of their music, and I was obsessed with this band called Tokyo Hotel, and they're like everything to me in those years. So I still like listen to their like older albums and everything, and I still memorize their songs. So I always like going back to them because they just give me like a nostalgia feeling too.
Okay, awesome. Now, to another controversial topic. Pineapple on pizza, what's your stance?
Well, I don't understand how that's even a bad thing. I like it.
Well,
I
we've
I
got some
enjoy
passionate
I
answers.
enjoy the sweetness. There's like a good little touch of sweetness to the pizza.
So you're pro pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Ooh, that's a good one. I haven't even thought about that. I would say Mewtwo.
Sweet. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And the weirdest question you'll ever be asked on a pro wrestling podcast. Would you ever consider wrestling a rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual rock.
If you pay me a good amount of money, then we got yourself a match.
Just for context, there's this guy named Psycho Mike, and he actually wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes for what was billed as a 2-week Iron Man match. An Iron Man
Oh,
match that
wow.
lasted for 2 weeks. Yes.
That sounds very interesting.
Oh, it was definitely something. It was definitely something to look at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
2
lot of
weeks and
interesting
15
things.
minutes. Trust me, it was a lot. It was a lot.
And
Oh, I bet.
wasn't even the first time he wrestled The Rock. That was the rematch.
And ended in a draw.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
319 to 319. Kaliko, you have any last questions you have?
Man, she tapped me out. And I feel like if I ask one more, a swift kick to the chest will get my asthma going. So I'm just gonna bow out.
Very nice.
All right. So we are at that segment once again of the show. We are wrestling with Janai Kai's Bizarre Adventure. You're a wrestler that goes up and down the road, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, so it was me and Yoya. We were in Chicago, and we were staying over at a friend of ours who also is a wrestler. They were kind enough to have us stay at their place. And so when we got up the next morning, we were walking back to the car when we noticed that the car wasn't there. And we were like, right off the bat, I was like, where's the car? And Yo-Yo was just as lost as I was. Because we were pretty sure that that was a safe spot to park at. And little did we know that the car company, like Nissan, they made a mistake about something that he like turned in, and they repoed his car
Oh my
when he
God.
really when he really turned in the payments on time, but something got switched up with the system where like they didn't get it in at all. So they repoed his car, and you can imagine how hard.
So
All right. So where did I leave off? Where did it cut off?
as you could imagine, you were trying to get the car back.
Yeah, so the whole process of getting the car back and how much money we had to spend was just a crazy amount. Like, it was just more money we had to pull out of our pockets on top of being out of state and on the road for wrestling.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, very crazy experience.
Now, on a serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Ooh, 5 years. I honestly see myself still doing the things that I love now, which is even like wrestling and martial arts for sure. But also just creating something of my own, like probably more of my own business of some sort. And I've been thinking about that too, as to what I want to do. Like if I owned my own business, and it's definitely around the lines of like having my own gym of some sort, like a studio gym that's under like me and my own thing.
Janai
So
Kai Karate?
something like that.
Alright, and what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what Janai Kai is all about?
I think for right now, like recently what's been posted on IWTV, if you go on IWTV, and I believe you can search for a particular wrestler, I'm not sure, but like any of my matches on there, that's who I am presently. So that's definitely a place to go check out my matches.
All right. So we are nearing the conclusion of this interview. So we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. No doom, actually inquired. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready, Janai?
I think so.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Greatest wrestler of all time would have to be, I would say, does it matter for woman or man?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Oof. I would say Rob Van Dam because he's influenced me too, but I think he had the overall package.
Oh, absolutely. Rob Van Dam's one of my favorite of all time too.
I know we ain't gonna argue that. Like,
and I recently watched his documentary, and I've learned a lot more around his story. So I definitely
honestly, there wasn't a lot about him out there during his career.
Exactly, and like now they're just coming out with this documentary that's like, oh crap, like hold on.
Oh, definitely.
Like this is like also something I believe about Rob Van Dam. Like he had the it factor. It's just like a lot of people didn't really recognize that.
I think people did recognize it, but unfortunately, he didn't give the people he needed to give his trust to trust him.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly.
all I know is I caught a lot of ass whooping staying up to 3 a.m. watching Rob Van Dam.
Worst wrestler of all time.
The worst. Oh. Gosh, I can't even say that. I mean, there's like some people even to this day that we're just learning about that are just horrible people that have done horrible things. So, if anything, they're probably the worst wrestlers. Which I'm not going to name all of them.
Interesting. Your main event.
So we're reverting to the default, Eva Marie.
Oh no, there's worse than her. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Wait.
Now we need names. We need a name.
We need the golden shovel here right now.
You guys think she's that bad?
You know, it's not that. It's that we've asked this question before, and we've gotten Eva Marie multiple times. So.
Oh no way.
There was the first default answer we can't use anymore, because it would be in poor taste now. So she kind of became the default of the default.
Oh my gosh.
Default
there's definitely worse people that I think those people forgot about that during the speaking out movement have been named.
I know you ain't gonna say Steve Blackman. I know that.
No.
Your main event in WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Ooh, I would say Asuka.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
Ooh, who can kick who unconscious first?
Yeah, that's gonna be the match right there.
You ever see that match between Kota Ibushi and Taichi where they just kick each other for 15 minutes straight?
I've seen a lot of Kota matches like that. Not against Taichi, but yeah, for like how Kota is, that's definitely goals with the kicking. I want to kick like 1,500 times in a match. That would be great.
Well, they did it maybe, I think, 100 times between the both of them during a 15-minute match. It was intense.
Oh no, I believe that.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh. I always liked Lita's song. And I always loved Victoria's song when
Which-
she was coming out to Tattoo.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's my
Yeah.
favorite one too.
Yes.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
All right. I thought it went out again because my alarm went off again.
Okay. No, you're good.
Okay.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
Ooh. Kayfabe is still a thing in some sense. In certain instances.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Ooh. A vegetable?
It is indeed a fruit.
Yes, yes. Don't be trying to change our minds. We all know it's a vegetable. Told you. No one's in up here designating squash as a fruit. Tomato barely got in. Okay.
You may have gotten the question wrong, but you're in good graces with Coleco Yachts now. You're part of Squash Squad, and that means a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, because I got a black belt that got my back. So say it's a fruit again. So kick your teeth out.
New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Wait, repeat that question.
What is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
Oh, okay. So do you know, okay, since you brought up like New Japan, you know who Sho Tanaka is?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we do.
I like how his trunks look. Like that's the perfect length.
Wow. I don't think we've ever had an example before.
Oh, well, you know what? That actually
Good
looks like
reference.
a decent biker short. Like that's it right there.
Full coverage.
Yes.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No.
And that is the correct answer. That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much, Janai, for coming on and doing this with us.
No, thank you. Thank you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Once again, could you tell us where we can find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. My handle is Janai_Kai. And then on Twitch too, which is twitch.tv/Janai Kai.
And of course, you could DM her for some cool merchandise.
Yes.
And I mean, you've been listening to her for over an hour. Buy a damn short or an 8x10.
Or she will find you and kick your chest through your back.
I didn't say it.
I said what you were thinking. Yeah, I got you.
Oh, okay.
And of course, if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, vote on YouTube and Castbox. Join us next week for another Wednesday interview. Of course, this interview was sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code WRESTLINGWITHE for 10% off your next purchase. You can follow Everything Wrestling With on Twitter and Instagram at WrestlingWithE. You can follow us individually as well. I am at JamesShay993. Where can they find Coleco?
You can find me looking for my yellow belt in Taekwondo to try to at least catch up at I Am Kaliko.
And of course, you can follow Scooter at Scooter Dust. I'm gonna do the outro. Janai, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Okay.
For our very special guest, Janai Kai, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.